I don't think it's something that I look at and say, oh, he's got injury issues. But there are some trends developing in availability. And that can't happen if Florida is going to exceed expectations this year. Because I'll give Roman Harper credit for this. And Roman said it on our show Monday night last year. He said, I played with a couple great quarterbacks. I played with Drew Brees. I played with Cam Newton. And he said Cam Newton was the only player that I played with that everybody else's level of play went up when he was on the field. Because physically what he was, everyone wanted to try to keep up with that. And most guys couldn't, but you're trying to. I just think DJ makes guys that. He makes other guys be better, play better, look better. And so that's going to help you win games.
Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Duly Noted podcast presented to you by our good friends at Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios. We appreciate all of our great sponsors and all of our great listeners and watchers. We really appreciate you guys. We're kind of loaded up on sponsors now. I'm going to kind of calm down, but this is the way I wanted it to be because now it's football season, baby. And now, people want the numbers just go through the roof when we have football season. So we're excited about it. Today's show, Cole Cubelic. You know him very well from the SEC Network. And also he does a show out there with McElroy. And that'll be good. I can't wait to talk to him, especially to get his take on Florida's offensive line. Is it really that good, or is it maybe just because we know their names? I mean, look, he's a guy who studies that stuff, and I love to hear what he's got to say. Monday, Coach Spurrier will be back here, and Robbie Andrew will be back in here. We always love having those Mondays, Meldon Mondays. And then, of course, on next Thursday, Brandon Marcello, who does a great job. He's been around for a while. He's not Pat Dooley old, but he's been around for a while, been reading his stuff forever, covering the SEC, covering college football. And we'll get him to come on next Thursday. And then I'm working on guests already for the following Thursdays. It's funny because I've been getting all these requests for speaking engagements, and I'm not doing very many this year. I'm trying to back way off on it. A lot depends on where it is, and that kind of stuff, and trying to keep it around the area. Like Ocala, my good friends down there, and Palatka, got good friends over there. And I had to turn down 2 yesterday, and I think I'm going to have to cancel another one. I'm just not up to it. And, you get to a point where, hey, look, I love going to and seeing all these Gator fans, and I love seeing fans from other schools. Gosh, the one I did in Savannah that year was awesome, man, because there was fans from everywhere, and they liked all my good jokes. So we'll see how that works out. I know you don't care, but I do. I was just trying to tell you. I may be coming to your city, but maybe not. In fact, I got one time from I did go to Atlanta one year. I think that's the furthest away. The furthest away I ever did was when I went to Denver, because I was there for Tebow, and their club had me out to speak, and I sold a few books that day too. That's a great club. Anyway, love all the Gator clubs, love all the great work they do, especially the one we have here, the obviously the Gainesville Quarterback Club, and all the scholarships they get. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but let's go ahead and get to our Royal Blue starting five. It is brought to you by Randy Royal over there at Royal Blue Yacht Sales. They do a tremendous job for all your boating needs. Pretty soon, we're going to start having a little segment here with Royal Blue where we flash up exactly what's available and a good boat that might be available, like the boat of the week, something like that. So want to help Randy out as much as we can. Let us get to our Royal Blue starting five, and that is at number one. Look, obviously football starts Saturday. It's not a huge game, but it's a big game. It's a game between two ranked teams. One of them's going to get a foot in the door, and as far as the Big 12 title goes, the other one's going to have to play uphill. All those things make it a big game, and it's the first game of the year in Dublin, Ireland. I can't wait. But by now, every pretty much prediction for Florida football is out there. I think I've seen everything. I have seen I've seen, well, I guess I haven't seen 0-12, and I haven't seen 12-0, but I think for everybody, it's a pretty broad scope there because it could be as bad as 4-8. Now, I don't think in any world that's going to happen, and it could be as good as 10-2. So that's a pretty broad difference there. But in fact, the last one I saw today was CBS Sports had did a thing on the polls, and they listed Florida as the most overrated team. And I look, I do think Florida is a tad overrated, and everybody who says from CBS Sports who was commenting on this said, "Hey, look, the schedule, man." And I know, man, the schedule. It's hard for me to argue against it. What I wonder is Florida going to get the schedule next year that would just replace the teams that they didn't play? Those 5 teams. South Carolina, Arkansas, Auburn, Alabama would be one. Trying to think of the other one, but anyway, Missouri, and then 3 regulars, which would probably be Georgia, Tennessee, and LSU. Now that's still a hard schedule, and guess what? Who you play in the non-conference matters. We don't know if FSU is going to be good again. We don't know. I'm just saying that Florida's schedule is not going to go away. It's not, and everybody in the SEC pretty much has a tough schedule. And of course, we always point to Missouri, but Missouri also didn't schedule in the non-con. They got a Kansas as their toughest game. I hope Kansas beats the crap out of them, just for that reason. So that is the thing, though. I think everybody is all over the map on Florida Gator football, and I think the fans are too. I think the fans are kind of. We talked about this a little bit last week. Cautiously optimistic. They're looking at this and they're saying, man, we've kind of skated through this without serious injuries. I know Dallas Wilson's been out, but he'll be back. Trey Wilson's back. Lagway now seems to be full go. Yeah, this could be something special. But of course, tomorrow somebody could turn his ankle, and then you never know. But so I think the fans are like, I think this is going to be a great team. But here's the thing. I think that all fans, and we all get provincial. It's just the way it works in college football, especially. More so than the NFL. The NFL guys tend to look at the league as a whole. It's the league. It's the king. College football fans, it's always been a regional sport. Right now, we care about the Gators. That's what we care about, 1 through 9. 10, we might care about other SEC games. That's just the way it works, and that's the same way it is in Athens and Columbia, South Carolina, where they care about the Gamecocks, and they may care a little bit about some other teams, and they'll watch the Clemson game and root for LSU. I would assume so. But anyway, it's all out there, and we'll just see what happens. Now it's the fun part because we get to see what happens, and that's the thing about college. I talk about this all the time. The first guy who said this to me probably stole the line because every line is stolen. But Mark Wise, who said, the sport is unscripted. He was speaking of basketball, and I went, boy, that's a perfect way to describe it. It's unscripted. There's no reality show. Hey, you guys need to fight more. There's none of that. There is no jokes written in or drama written in. It all happens naturally. It's a natural laxative sometimes. And it's a natural high too, man. The high is unbelievable that you get when the Gators win a big game. And I know that a lot of you take it personally when they lose, and a lot of you want to experience the highs, the ultimate highs that you had in 06 and 08 and 96 and even sometimes in a couple of those other years. I mean, I would say that there were a lot of highs last year at the end of the year. I think there were highs in the Muschamp, that one year he had that was any good. And then the McElwain, there was that win at LSU is considered, to me, is one of the best wins in Florida, regular season wins in Florida history. I don't know that it's not number one. It may be. I mean, I haven't really thought about it, but yeah. So anyway, and that's the great thing that's coming up. We are about to not only have this long movie unveiled for us, We've had all the previews. We're tired of watching the preview for Naked Gun 2 and Top Gun 4 and Rocky 9 and all this. We want live football, and we're going to get it very soon. And of course, next week will be exciting. Pretty cool story too. DJ Lagway giving customized beats to all his teammates. That's part of being a leader. Look, these guys love that kind of thing. They're going to go to war for a guy who does something like that. He didn't have to do that. And look, I don't know if he got a deal on it and didn't have to pay for him. It doesn't matter. He got it done. And that's cool. Now, is that going to help him throw touchdown passes? No. Might help a guy block a little harder for him. We'll see. All right, let's get to number 2 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is that the college football playoff is now going to a new metrics, and it is interesting. And of course, immediately Danny Cannell chirped up, yeah, well, you know why? Because the SEC hadn't had a team in the title game, and that's why, in 3 years or whatever it is. That's why they want to do that, make their tough schedule look tougher. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Nobody should allow him to be on Twitter. Can we ban him from Twitter and radio? Not one of my favorite guys. But anyway, hey, look, he's doing what he needs to do. He's getting clicks. He's getting people to look at him. Look at me. I'm the clown. Anyway, but the interesting part of it is they are going to use these new metrics, and strength of schedule is going to matter. Now, the thing that makes this really interesting is that you heard people in the SEC, and I think Greg Sankey say, hey, look, we're not going to 9 conference games until we know what strength of schedule means. And we've got to know, because if we don't know, there's no point in going to 9. The only reason to go to 9 is it improves our strength of schedule. But if strength of schedule is not a metric that's important, why bother? Why play that 9th game? Why take a chance on losing a game? Then that's kind of been the attitude about the SEC. This may change it, and it may go to 9 now. And that would be great. I would love to see it. It just means more good games. Any SEC game is watchable. You know that. And any SEC game is going to be fun to watch. So I'm hoping that does happen. I'm hoping that the strength of schedule being an important part of the college football playoff will allow the SEC to go to 9 games. I don't know if it'll be right away, but maybe in a year or so. All right, let's go to number 3 on our Royal Blue starting 5, brought to you by Royal Blue Yacht Sales. Want to tell you this quick story about Long Island University. I have been trying for weeks to find somebody at Long Island who covers the team, would know the team, maybe even try to get a player on. Todd Bowles Jr. plays there. Ron Cooper's a coach. I mean, I know of him. I've never spoken to him. Just get somebody on. Not easy, okay? Just getting a hold of somebody is almost impossible. And it was getting very frustrating for me, and I get it. It's Long Island. It's an FCS school. They're doing their best. And they're in the glare of the Yankees and the Giants and the Jets and the Mets and everything else that's going on, okay, up there in New York. And I get that. So I finally said, hey, look, I'm just going to call the main number. And when I call the main number, I'll just ask for, can you give me somebody, is there a sports information department or something like that? And I called the main number. We're sorry, the number you dialed is no longer in service. I go, well, there we have it. That's it. Luckily, through the internet, I found a guy, and to get him on the radio, our radio show Friday, and we'll have him on. His name is AJ. His last name is somewhere. Anyway, AJ is the publisher of NEC Blitz. It's a website, and it's about the Northeast Conference. I think that's what they call it. Anyway, we're going to get him on Friday, but that's how much I had to go through. And even then, I mean, I was like, I don't know you, but you don't know me, but would you mind coming on our radio show? Because we need to know something about this team. I know a little bit about them, but there ain't much on the website either. I can tell you that. Anyway, I thought it was a funny story, and it just shows you The reporting skills are still there, man. I got to find that story. I got to get it. All right. Let's go to number 4 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is the story that kind of has captured the National Football League, which is not a good story, and that is Anthony Richardson. Daniel Jones named the starter, and of course, Anthony immediately and his agents say, well, maybe we need to get out of here. Of course, take your ball and run when you aren't going to play. This is quarterbacks. That's what they do everywhere. They've done it for years. And now with the portal, they do it all the time. And in the NFL, just say, hey, I demand a trade. I want to be traded. I'll come out here. I ain't gonna be here mentally though. And again, it's not a good look for him. I mean, he's already, a lot. It's like Jeff and I were talking about yesterday. We could have told you not to take him with the 4th pick. Now, if you want to take him with the 25th pick, that's fine. But that was way too high. You shouldn't have done that. Was it 4th or 5th? Whatever round it went in, whatever pick he was. Because we knew that he was not a polished quarterback. He was not ready to play in the NFL. And he is a little injury prone. We know that. And that combination would have, I'd have been more scared of him than Shedeur Sanders, to be honest with you. I'd rather have had Shedeur Sanders. But the Colts didn't listen, and we'll see what happens. It's a shame, man. This guy's still got a chance to really do some special stuff with his life. And I don't think in any way he's a bad person. I have no experience with him that is bad. It's great. But he needs to figure things out. He needs to be better, needs to get better, needs to stay healthy. I don't know. Maybe a change of scenery would help, but he's only been there 2 years. It's not like he's been there forever. Anyway, let's get to number 4 on our Royal Blue starting 5. More good news coming out of NFL camps for Gators. The latest is our friend DeMarcus Russell, because of a DUI, is going to be suspended for 3 games to start the season. Now, watching him the other day with San Francisco, he and Pearsall had like the first 4 catches of the game. I'm like, oh man, the Gators are dominating. This is cool. DeMarcus is a troubled young man. He's been that way. I mean, remember he got suspended. I can't remember if it was for a half or a quarter or a game. But he got suspended because he snuck out of the hotel room when they were staying at the Best Western over here near my house, where they have the Gainesville Quarterback Club meetings. He snuck out of the room and at night to go out. And believe me, it's not like he's the first guy to ever do that, but that's not a sign of leadership. I will say that. DeMarcus is a very talented young man, and I will say that touchdown pass he caught in overtime against Kentucky would go in that list of great memories, that I've had in the last, 25 years. So anyway, again, another guy who needs to get himself together is DeMarcus Robinson, and hopefully he does. All right, that's going to do it for our Royal Blue starting 5. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Cole Cubelic will join us. We'll talk offensive line, his time at Auburn, and how he became one of the best announcers in the business. This is another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
At Royal Blue, we use such tools as AI, bulk email marketing, trade shows, Google search advertising, and multiple websites. We take a much more proactive approach to getting your boat sold in a timely manner. With our extensive client list and broker-dealer network, we can track down vessels that might be perfect for you and your family, that may not even be listed for sale yet, giving you the right of first refusal. We have spent the last 15 years in boat sales, observing and listening to our clients. In response to our findings, we have constructed a custom yacht brokerage that strives to fit their needs and not ours. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient. having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grille. Ballyhoo Grille prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Tebow Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grille on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Okay, and welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, and coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It's great to bring on our Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line, old friend of mine, Cole Cubelic, coming to us. The busiest man I know. I mean, he's doing everything. He's always all over the sidelines at the games. He's doing radio with McElroy, which has got to be hard right there. And he's constantly doing meetings and everything, taking time out to talk to us. We appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Pat, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I know you're ready like I am to get this thing going, right?
I am. There's some different hesitation than I think there was, 8 or 9 years ago for me. My 3 kids are all, we're 10, 8, 5 right now. So knowing that I'm getting ready to not be with them for 16, 17 straight weeks is not fun. But obviously I love what I do. I love college football. So the season, I think, is going to be enjoyable. I'm anticipating a pretty wild season, some upsets, some teams winning games they're not supposed to, losing games they're not supposed to. I think it could be specifically in the SEC, and I think it's collectively college football too. I don't think we're going to have 2-3 teams that are just miles ahead of everybody else. We might have 3 or 4 that we think, yeah, those look like the best teams, but I could see them getting caught. I could see this team getting them, which should make for a really interesting, really entertaining college football season.
Yeah, I've said this to a lot of people, and I believe the SEC race is wide open. Now, I'm not saying Mississippi State or Vandy's going to win it, but I think that there's 8 teams that could possibly come out of nowhere and win that league.
We debated on the show today, actually, McElroy and I, how many teams could find their way to Atlanta. And we landed around 10. And we even debated, we even took an Arkansas and a Vanderbilt and said, listen, there could be ways that some certain things fall into place can you completely rule it out? Mississippi State, we said yes. I think Kentucky was a team that a lot of us said we probably can't find a way there. And I think that's the harder part, is saying how many teams can you definitively eliminate? Like, we could say a way Auburn gets there. I could see a way Oklahoma gets there. I can see a way Florida gets there. I can see a way Missouri gets there. Mm-hmm. How many teams can you just say, I don't think there's a single chance? The reason that I think it's hard to eliminate teams is because even the teams we feel great about have glaring issues. And the key word with everybody now that used to be different 6, 8, 12 years ago, 20 years ago, is depth. Because I go through all these teams and I'm saying, man, if they lose this guy, they're in trouble. Pat, that's every team in college football right now. Every team, when they lose a left guard or a slot receiver or a defensive tackle, they're not just different there. They're a different team a lot of the times. You look at Georgia last year. They lost Tate Ratledge last year. They were a different team. They weren't a different offensive line. Their team changed. So I think the dynamic when a guy or two goes down nowadays and you're not able to hit as much, there's not as much in pads, guys are transferring, so they're losing time in pads and developmentally in the spring because they're not practicing as much, or they're getting acclimated with a new team, new program, so there's not as much development work as they might get. All of those things are setting back the probability of staying healthy throughout the course of the year. Oh, and by the way, you're playing more games against better teams. So all that works against these teams.
Let me ask you about Florida's offensive line in particular, as a former offensive lineman. I know you study tape on these guys, and you know about it. Is Florida's line getting too much praise because we know all their names, or because they do have two first-team All-SEC players on that?
I don't think I'd ever give you an offensive line that's getting too much praise, Pat, because we oftentimes don't give them any. No, I don't think so. Now, I will say, if you wanted a little bit of an asterisk next to it, or a little bit of an or a but to, them getting the praise that they are, there are not very many that look like they're going to be very good.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that have. I think Auburn's has a chance to be a lot better than people think. I think A&M's group's going to be really good. Bama's could be good. I think Georgia's could be good. Missouri might have a good offensive line, but there's none that we just look at as sort of the standard of the league. Like they're going to be dominant. Couple that have a chance to. And the other part of it, in which I would push back on people maybe saying it's getting too much love, is this system requires a little bit more togetherness. Similar to Missouri, similar to a couple other teams in the league, that when you run the zone scheme as much as they do, you got to know how to operate it together. So therefore, continuity sometimes can overrule, do you just have a bunch of dominant individual players? Like you might not need all DJ Campbells out there to just be dominant in every sense of the word or what it looks like. It might be more important for you to understand how long to ride a double team, when you can leave a guy, when to stay, when to climb to a linebacker, what angle to take on a linebacker. Now, it helps to have guys like Trayvon Ball behind you. They're going to make them look good too. But continuity, togetherness, I think, is as or more important in this scheme than it is in some others. So that helps my confidence with this group going into the season. And then they have good players. And experience is critical right now, together and in general, on the offensive line. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of schools take guys from lower levels to maybe not even come in and be starters, but to be backups, because at least you can throw them in there and say, well, he's played. He knows the speed, the physicality. Yeah, it's not going to overwhelm him. He might not overpower anybody, but just what it is actually on the field is not going to overwhelm him, so that doesn't turn into a liability.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Florida does this year. I mean, the DJ Lagway thing is overblown. They're trying to do something a certain way. It's all going according to their plan. But I'm also a little bit nervous about, okay, this guy hasn't really thrown in live, with the bullets flying. Now it's not like Long Island's going to throw a lot of bullets at him.
You're not worried about the Sharks?
The Sharks, baby. I want to figure out why they got that nickname, why they couldn't be like the, I don't know, Rotten Tomatoes.
Somebody up there must like Jaws a little bit too much. I don't know. I think it's fair. I love DJ. I think he's a great kid. I think he's a great football player. But it is 100% fair, in my opinion, to say, okay, now we're developing a little bit of a track record of inavailability, be it a practice, a week, half a season, whatever it is. We need more consistency of availability, because as we know, specifically at that position, I got to have you out there all the time, not some of the time. This is not a receiver that is situationally, or a pass rusher situationally, that you can still impact our team in a great way that's going to help us win games. We need you out there every rep that we are competitively in a football game, and most of those practices as well. I don't think it's something that I look at and say, oh, he's got injury issues. But there are some trends developing in availability. And that can't happen if Florida is going to exceed expectations this year. Because I'll give Roman Harper credit for this. And Roman said it on our show Monday night last year. He said, I played with a couple great quarterbacks. I played with Drew Brees. I played with Cam Newton. And he said Cam Newton was the only player that I played with that everybody else's level of play went up when he was on the field, because physically what he was, everyone wanted to try to keep up with that. And most guys couldn't, but you're trying to. I just think DJ makes guys that. He makes other guys be better, play better, look better. And so that's going to help you win games. But I don't have a concern as far as him not being able to get it done when he is out there. I think he can be great. And I think also one thing that he can greatly benefit from is some of the things we talked about with this system, the scheme. It's very quarterback friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, hey, okay, we got the stretch play going. We're going to bootleg off of this. It's 1, it's 2, tuck it and run. Or it's come off that play action. If that crosser's not there and you're getting single coverage, take the shot. Like, it's Billy's offense can be very deliberate. And now sometimes it's a little bit more elongated. So you're going to need some extra time in the pocket, but that's what the play action stuff and the movement stuff can hopefully open up.
Yeah.
There's some visual deception in it that can help a quarterback greatly with what he reads, what he sees, and what potentially can be there. So he's got every bit of ability to make it happen. The O-line can be great. I mean, I mentioned him earlier, but like I think the only thing that's going to keep Trayvon Ball or Jaden Ball from being in the mix for the Heisman is that Jacoby Jackson is going to get carries too. But I think the receivers have a chance to be better than they were a year ago, and collectively could maybe be back to what we're seeing Florida receiver corps being, because we're not used to seeing one good guy at that spot. We're used to seeing like 5. I think tight end might be my only concern offensively, to be honest with you. And that's just because I kind of don't know what it's going to be. And I know Billy loves to use them. So he doesn't have to use them, but he likes to use them. And I think that offense unlocks itself when you have tight ends that can help you in the run game. They can widen the formation a little bit. They can widen that surface to help the run game get inside or go outside. And then that gives you some of the bootleg, the play action stuff. It forces a defense formationally to be more of what benefits you attacking them. So that's the only thing that I'm kind of like, man, I don't really know what that's going to be, but I feel pretty good about everything else.
Let me ask you about the story that came out today about the NCAA, the College Football Playoff Committee, is going to use metrics on schedule strength, which is what we heard in Atlanta. I was trying to think where SEC Media Days were because I was there. But SEC Media Days was, hey, look, we got to make sure that strength of schedules matters before we add a 9th game. Now that they're saying, yes, it's a big part of it, we're going to use this. Do you think that we're closer to getting to that 9th SEC game?
I don't know how much closer we are, but it's only a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
And to give you my just blunt, honest opinion on it, I think it's the last bargaining chip that Greg Sankey has to inject a lot more money into their annual revenue. Now, there are going to be little ways that hell, Pat, Oklahoma's selling tickets to press conferences after games. Like, we're going to find these little ways to get a little bit more money. But the last mass infusion of cash is that extra game. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's going to sit there until Disney says, okay, we are willing to give you this gigantic truckload of money to add this game. And if I'm Greg Sankey, that's the only thing that even pushes me towards that at all. He has said it before. I don't need that game to get in the playoffs. I don't need that game to win playoffs and national championships. I don't need that game to get eyeballs on my games. We outrate everybody on a regular basis. Now, I'll say this. I think that a lot of the coaches are on different sides of that fence. I think some really want it. I think others don't want it. But in my opinion, it all comes down to who, when, how is that check going to be written? And then the SEC will go to the ninth conference game.
I'm just in favor of better games. That's all I want. I want nothing. I would like everybody to play 12 good games. And I know I'll never see that. This isn't the NFL, but
yeah, and I'm on a little bit of a different level than that. I'll tell you this, I don't want them in November. I'll tell you that. I've never enjoyed the lettuce weekend, and people call it cupcake weekend. I don't allow that because I like cupcakes. I bet you like cupcakes. Most people love cupcakes. So why do we call it cupcake weekend? I call it lettuce weekend because you know what no one asks for more of anytime they sit down to eat? Lettuce. No one says, give me more lettuce. So I call that lettuce weekend.
I like that. Or we can call it kale weekend.
Kale weekend works also. Veggie weekend, whatever it is. I'm okay with having one or two of those because I started out broadcasting, doing games in the Sun Belt when it wasn't near as good as it is right now. Right. And they have to have those games, plain and simple. You know, I remember when Troy Everett was the head coach at Georgia State, they were just starting their program, and we had him the week after they played Alabama, and he said, you know why we played that game? And they lost like 76-0 something. He goes, we took that check and we put lights on our practice fields. We had to have that. Otherwise, we don't get lights on our practice fields. Yeah. So Mark Richt always said there's enough to go around for everybody, and I still believe that. As greedy as we are, as money hungry as we are, as different as it is, I do think that there's still enough to share with some of the lower levels of football, because that still provides great opportunity for a lot of kids. They may never play NFL, SEC, whatever. They still get to go compete in sports in college. And that gives you opportunity, and that opens door. Every dime I've made in my life is because I played football at Auburn. And that's not because Jimmy Raines put me in a cubicle, just give me a check to tell war stories. It has opened doors for me. It's given me opportunities. People want to have conversations. Therefore, I've been able to take advantage of some of those. So same thing for kids that play at Florida. Chris Doering would tell you the same thing. I mean, he wouldn't be sitting here if he didn't play football at Florida, doing what he's doing. A lot of guys that got to play in this league can say that. Those brands matter. Those logos matter a lot. So the guys that don't have that benefit of playing at Tennessee or LSU or Alabama, you still get to go compete. You still get to learn a lot of life lessons, and it's an opportunity to go to college at the same time and help better yourself. So it's like what I did after COVID. I called Sanford games because I live in Birmingham. Sanford's like 2 miles from my house. Yeah. And they asked me if I would do their home games. I wouldn't do anything else. So I was like, I'd love to. Just calling games. And I got to be friends with their AD. And we talked about it. I said, you guys should seriously consider having football in the spring. Like, this could work. And he said, if I had games in the spring, 90% of my fan base makes a decision on Wednesday, Thursday. Are they going to go to Alabama, Auburn, or my game? And it depends on the home schedules of the others. He said, but I usually lose more than half of my fans that would come to games because of that. He said, so I think our attendance would decrease by 50%. And if I did that, that would cover 80% of my athletic budget, just the people being there. So then if you could work some sort of immediate deal that was more beneficial than what you have now, you might be fine at that level of football and in a much better spot. And then I think you could play your spring game as one of the early regular season games. That's your spring game. It's a real game. And I don't care if it counts in your standings or not. Who cares if you're playing the spring, because it doesn't matter if you win your conference or anything. And that's your paycheck game. Now, FCS fans lost their minds when I offered this up because football's played in the fall. But we're not just talking about these football programs anymore. These are businesses now. And you're going to have to start making business decisions at a lot of different places and a lot of different levels.
Yeah, and I think we may be seeing the schedule move up as well. All right.
I was going there. I'm sorry. I was going there because the pushback was we have to have those pay games. But as you just brought up, those games are going away, Pat.
Yeah.
You're losing them anyway. So why not find a more creative way to keep them down the road? And then this is what the lower levels of football have failed to done for a long period of time. Seek out some sort of self-sustainability. No one is doing that. No one is sitting back saying, all right, when, because it's not if anymore, when the two big boys take their ball and leave the court and say, y'all have fun playing basketball with no ball, because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Where is your ability to self-sustain with revenue somehow, some way? Nobody's looking at that. And you better find it at some point in time, because it's going to come. And that's when a lot of programs are going to face plant, because they haven't been thinking about that.
Absolutely right. It's time for us to play Yes, No Way, or Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak with the great Cole Cubelic. We will, of course, if you go in there and say you listen to this, you get free fries with your order. So, Cole, you want to go in there and get free fries, you can go in there. You can always say,
do I get cheese on them? Can we get like cheese fries? Or
They have that, yes.
Ooh, okay, now we're talking.
All right, number one, it bothers you that Florida and Auburn never play football anymore.
I got my ass kicked every time I played Florida, so that doesn't bother me at all. I have nightmares about Tyrannosaurus Rex Grossman, so I don't need any more of that.
The only thing that bothers me is that Florida is only close to one school. That's Auburn. It's 4.5 hour drive. Everywhere else you got to go further. Why not have them play once in a while? Like the old days, it was a huge rivalry game. You know that. It became a big deal.
We don't care about geography anymore, Pat. We have an ACC school in California, so we don't care.
My wife, one day last year, I go, God, I can't believe Cal's beat Miami. And she goes, is this a bowl game? I go, no, this is season.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. All right. Number 2, you still get chills when you see the war eagle flying down from the stadium, top of the stadium.
100%. Absolutely. I think it is the coolest tradition in college football.
I agree.
When you're there for a big game, there's just nothing like it. And I will say this, I get chills when Tennessee runs through the tee. I get chills when I'm there watching 2-bits. I get chills when they say it's, when they turn the lights off in Death Valley. Like, it's all those places. It's awesome everywhere, man. And then the new stuff going to the fourth quarter. Obviously, I think Florida kind of started this. I don't know who was doing it before Florida was, but man, everybody turns their cell phone lights on and like everybody has their song now. Like, I get chills with all that stuff. That's one of the reasons I love college football.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I used to being at a stadium, especially as you know, Jordan Hare's an open air stadium. Being at a stadium and you can hear everything and you can see everything, and I would get chills all the time.
Sometimes the coolest part of going to a college football game is either going in late or just tailgating or leaving early and hearing what it sounds like outside the stadium.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's because you hear that crowd and you're like, "What happened?"
What happened?
Or you hear like the 5,000 people cheer and everybody else kind of, and you're like, oh no, what was that?
No. All right. Finally, on Yes, Nowhere, maybe with Cole, you're okay with Auburn claiming 7 new national championships?
I can't tell you that I like it. No,
It seems
not a
kind
fan of it.
silly. Yeah.
I need a why, and no one's delivered that why yet. Because you had to know strategically when you set out to do this for whatever reason, there was going to be a lot of negative blowback. Is it worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze on this? I would probably say no. I imagine it's some sort of marketing ploy to be able to say you accomplished this or you're this program in history somewhere, somehow. But and we can go back to 1908 or whatever it was, with Steve Hamburger Johnson or whatever. They all had cool nicknames back in the day. Bricklayer McCoy, whatever he was. Do we even really know what was happening?
Yeah.
We had a guy that wrote a book about I think it was the 1899 or something Swanee football, 1901 Swanee football team. And he was telling us that he talked to all these people. He was like, spiking was encouraged. They used to call it lunching. And I said, well, I got to rewind. What is, he's like, lunching was actually encouraged. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, biting people during the games. They called it lunching. They encouraged you to bite people during games. Like, we really want to go celebrate. Like, we have no idea what was happening back then. And we were thinking that, and they had 17 different places I read one off yesterday, one of the Auburn teams, one of the teams that they beat that finished in the top 10, they beat the Kansas City Medics. And I'm sitting there thinking, did the Kansas City Medics did they just decide they wanted to play football one day and they're like, we'll play you guys?
Yeah.
And the Medics finished 0-4 that year. It's like, what? We don't even know how things were going. We're talking about national championships? Come on.
I did notice that the third one that when I looked it up, and that was the year the forward pass was introduced to the game. So.
Oh, the gentleman with Swanee told us they also used to have, I think they called it launching. And I was like, was that like their version of targeting? And he goes, no, they literally picked people up and threw them for like short yardage situations. Like 2 guys would grab a guy and throw him. I'm like, that's what we're trying to claim. We're fighting over that. Okay, good.
Well, that's good to hear. You have a sane voice on this, and I appreciate it. Cole, it's always great talking to you, buddy. I appreciate your time so much. I know you're very busy.
Absolutely.
We'll let you get back to everything you do, and anything you need to plug. I know that your show is on.
We got so much going on. You can find McElroy and Kubelic in the morning where you guys are 8 to 11 on YouTube. Search Jocks945, jocksfm.com on the internet. My podcast is Cube Show. That'll be every Sunday or Monday during the season. I recap all the SEC games. And then Tuesday Date Night podcast. My wife and I started this. That comes out on Wednesday mornings. So we have a Tuesday date night and we just talk about life, really. You got a full breakdown of my vasectomy last week if you're looking for that this week. Tuesday date night, wherever you get your podcast.
Last week we were talking about Tim Brando's vasectomy, so we're hitting because he was bragging about it at SEC Media Days, and he was commanding the bar, and I was like, I got to get to meet this guy. I don't know.
I didn't brag. I'm not bragging about any of it. It was not enjoyable. but I'm very thankful for Valium because I don't think I would have gotten through without that.
Well, we appreciate you, and we don't need Valium when we're watching you on the sideline. Great job, man. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll be back with more of another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios right after this break.
Coach, you know what always impressed me, how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila. Aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean head beer coach, 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Hey, let's talk about something that's been a real game changer for many people, including me. BMI TeleMed is one of our sponsors. They're the weight loss specialists and can help you tackle that stubborn belly fat. You know, the kind that usually creeps up once you hit your 40s. Bob Parado and Charlie Gonzalez, two UF-trained pharmacists, work with their medical director to prescribe and deliver the same meds that helped me lose 50 pounds. Yep, 50 pounds. That belly fat, it's not just about looks. It's unhealthy and makes you feel sluggish. Now is the time to do something about it before football season rolls around again. If you're anywhere in Florida, BMI TeleMed, simple online telehealth platform makes it easy. Your weight loss meds get delivered right to your door fast. From my experience, you feel full sooner, eat less, but can keep enjoying the foods that you love, just in smaller portions. Plus, it helps with blood sugar and cravings. Do yourself a favor, head to bmitelemed.com to set up a free private consultation. No obligations, no contracts. These Gators know their stuff. You'll look better, feel better, and be healthier. Visit bmitelemed.com today. Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great. Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios. Appreciate all of our great sponsors, great guests, great everything. Appreciate especially Zach, who does the best job of all. Does a great job. All right, let's get to our fun stuff in the third segment, the Hesser and Kipkey 3 things brought to you by our good friends Ken and Jen over at Hesser and Kipkey. They're great attorneys especially for all your workers' compensation and family law needs. 352-339-9920 or www.hklawfl.com. That is where you reach them. Number 1 on our Hesser and Kipkey 3 things. What about this story today? That a bullet went through the window of Andy Reid's work office last year. Why it just came out now? It's so odd. And the immediate thing you think is a guy got cut and got mad. And then you think, well, they lost the Super Bowl and somebody got mad. Apparently there were 3 bullets that they found, and one of them was he was unharmed, obviously, but it's just just quit shooting people, please. It's just stupid to shoot people, okay? It's never a good idea unless you're defending your family or you're at war. You know, if you're in a war, it's okay. But I don't know. I don't know why that is the answer all the time. But anyway, I'm happy for Andy Reid that he's okay. That has got to be a scary moment when you think about. Because I mean, I don't even. I was reading the story. I didn't get the impression that he even knew much about it. But so it wasn't like it whizzed by his head. One whizzed by his head was Andy Lopez. Told me that story when he was a kid. Somebody shot a gun at him. Jimmy Bess, I think, was his name, and the shot, he could hear it go right by his ear. And that's when he knew he needed to straighten his life out. And he became head coach, won 2 national championships, did a pretty good job. All right, let's get to number 2 on our Hesser and Kipkey 3 things. And that is that Tim Tebow, believe it or not, is a new owner. He's doing exactly what Tom Brady's doing. Well, not exactly. Tim is a partial owner in an Augusta, Georgia minor league hockey team. Hey, you got to start somewhere, right? And I get it. All these ex-players in all sports and movie stars, Ryan Reynolds and people like that, they want to have that thrill of victory. They want it to be unscripted. They want to build something, and it's an ego thing, but it's also a big financial thing too. Because don't forget what we just talked to you about Jerry Jones and how much he's made that franchise, not just his doing, but the NFL's doing too. But how much that franchise is now worth? It's ridiculous. I don't think the Augusta, and they actually don't have a nickname yet. What would I call them? The Augusta Amen Corners, the Augusta Magnolias. That might not be bad. I like that. The Augusta Flowers, something like that. But anyway,
what about Augusta Gophers like Caddyshack?
Yeah, that would be. I like that. Augusta Gophers or the Augusta Azaleas. Actually, is a little alliteration. There we go. All right, we're trying to help Tebow out if he needs our help. I know he doesn't. Let's get to number 3 on our Hesser and Kipkey 3 things. And Arkansas has approved rushing the field after big wins. What? Well, you're still going to get fined, but what they're doing is they're putting a clock up there. The clock says 3 minutes on it. It counts down. You got that much time to get off the field, which is plenty of time. If you want to hang around and be around it, that's your choice. They're giving you plenty of time to get off the field, and then if you want to rush it. Now, I wonder if 3 minutes is a long time for students to wait, because students are going to go, I can't. I got to post this by 10:30. Come on. Run, clock. But 3 minutes is enough time. Look, we all know there's a way to stop people from rushing the field, and that's to stop them. But not everybody wants to do that. They want to have kids rush the field. And to do that, the SEC is saying, if you're going to do, and the ACC now too has instituted the rule, but if you're going to do that, give the other players time and coaches to get off the field. And that has always been the problem. We've seen bad incidents happen. I know everybody goes, nothing's ever happened. They've happened. Don't think they haven't happened. Florida player hit a Vandy kid in basketball one year. God, I can't think of who. Was it Brandon Powell? I don't want to usurp somebody's name. And is usurp the right name? No, that's not the right word. Disgrace somebody's name. But anyway, whoever did it, that happened. I mean, he was getting pushed. We've seen other incidents where people got pushed. We saw I've seen goalposts come down next to my head. Anyway, regardless, at least this seems to be a kind of a compromise. You can rush the field, just not now. Now, my interesting thing is going to be to see if they are good at enforcing that, because, okay, you can't rush the field till 3 minutes, but we want to still come over the wall. We're going to get over the wall. We want to be in line to rush the field. Now you get a push. Who knows? Just watch the game. I'm not going to worry about rushing the field. All right, let's get to, that's our Hesser and Kipkey 3 things. Let's get to our BMI TeleMed Smart Move of the Week. BMI TeleMed, your place to go for all your weight loss needs. Call them at 727-383-1677. A lot of people have called BMI TeleMed and our customers now, you get 10% off your order if you mention the Dooley podcast. Achieve and maintain. It worked for me, and it will work for you. And our BMI TeleMed smart move of the week is the dumbest move I've seen, but it's smart on their part because nobody can do anything about it. But that goes to Auburn, which we talked about. Auburn has claimed 7 more national titles. Yeah, we won it in 1903. We didn't have the best record, but we're going to claim it. We think we were the best team. Harvard might have been better, but we couldn't prove it. And 1918 and World War I was about to break out. Whatever. They're coming up with all these crazy but it's a smart move because guess what? You can get more T-shirts. You can put more banners up. You can announce your presence with authority. You can say, "Hey, look at all the championships we've won, national championships," and they're even claiming that 2004 one. Come on, guys, you didn't get in the game, okay? The metrics worked against you. It's a smart move on their part. It's a dumb move to everybody else in the world. All right. That's our BMI TeleMed smart move of the week. Appreciate BMI TeleMed. Let's get to our Adams Ribco Gator of the week. And we love Adams Rib and we love the ribs, but if Hurston Waldrop has any more barbecue sauce go down his gullet, he is going to explode because I think he's been the Gator of the week at least twice as a Brave, and I'm sure 2 or 3 times as a Gator. But I'm sorry, he's the guy right now that he's making me happier than anybody in the Gator Nation right now. Of course, I love the Braves. Braves are going nowhere this year, but Hurston Waldrop has done everything he can. And remember, I told you he was going to be pitching Wednesday night. Sure enough, throws a shutout for however many innings. He went 7, I guess. 7 strikeouts. Now he is 4-0. Think about this. He is 4-0. And again, the first start he got wasn't the Speedway game, but that's the first time he came in to pitch. But he is the second pitcher ever to be 4-0 in his first 4 appearances. You know who the other one is? Fernando Valenzuela. It was pretty good. That 1 year was unbelievable. That 1 year, Fernando Mania was unlike anything you've ever seen in baseball. Even it was bigger than the home run chase. I think that's my personal opinion. You may not agree with me, but Fernando Mania was just, you would get up in the morning, of course, this is back when there were newspapers, and look at the box score and hope that they got it in. Got the late scores in, and he pitched another shutout. You got to be kidding me. Anyway, I don't know if there's going to be Hurston Mania, but we're here for it if we have it. But he is our Adams Ribco Gator of the week. Let's move along to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick pick. And today I have sent it out for our last winner. Appreciate him. Bruce Davis, I believe. Yeah, I sent it out today. I know whatever I tell you I'm sending out, add 2 days to that because it never works out. But the qualifying has started. Of course, we got a game tonight that you guys picked on the over-unders. But we're going to make things hard for you a little bit. And it's football season now. It's time to get your thinking caps on. You can't cruise in here with a little, easy pick. So I'm giving you some hard ones. We're giving you 2 games on the first Saturday of college football season. Week 1 is what it's called. Week 1. Okay. Our first one, Stanford, is getting 2.5 points at Hawaii. Now, the game's not that late. I think it's like I think I wrote it down here. Maybe I didn't. But I think it's like an 8 o'clock game, so you can stay up and watch it. So Stanford getting 2.5 at Hawaii. And then the big game, Kansas State -3 against Iowa State in Dublin. So you got to get them both right, too. I'm not even going to give you this. You got to get one of them right. You got to get them both right. So you just got to say Stanford and K-State or Hawaii and Iowa State. You don't use Hawaii and Iowa very often together in the same sentence. But anyway, That's our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick pick. I'll be doing some picking on mybookie.ag. That is the place to go for all your gambling needs, and there is some great stuff coming up here. We're in football season, guys. MyBookie is the place you want to go and get registered. I'm registered, and you've got a lot of opportunities. In fact, they're giving you a special introductory offer if you want to. And this is a cool deal. Whatever you want to bet, up to $500, they'll cover it. So in other words, let's say you took Stanford minus or plus 2.5, and Stanford gets steamrolled. I don't think they will, but I would take Stanford plus 2.5. And you lose the bet, right? But you don't lose the money. The money stays there and it just rolls over to your next bet. If you win, you get to collect the winnings. Now, how good a deal is that? That seems like a pretty good way to get you started on it. But that's at mybookie.ag. And of course, fantasy football is going on. There's all kinds of ways to bet on the fantasy part of it. It's fantasy football, but it's real money. And there's a great opportunity for you to get on involved with that at mybookie.ag. Also, casino games on there as well, which is really cool. It's the place to go, and we appreciate them being a sponsor. And they have look. I'm heavily involved in it now. I'd kind of quit getting into fantasy football and all those things, but I'm back in. Mybookie.ag. We appreciate them. Let us move along to our Los Linderos smooth move of the weekend. And of course, a Los Linderos smooth move, because we want to go beyond, is to go right to Urban Meyer, because Urban Meyer, it was announced that the National Football Foundation Hall of Fame is going to induct him, but Florida is going to recognize him at the Tennessee game. Now, I don't know if you know about his history with Tennessee, but it was pretty good. It wasn't bad at all. He did pretty well against Tennessee. So that's the game, and that is a smooth move for it to be that game. So I guess the smooth move should go to the UAA for making that the game. I think that's great. And it'll be interesting to see the reaction there, because I think it'll be fine. I really do. I think enough time has passed, and I think people want to go, hey, this guy did something for us that was unbelievable. Now, he overlooked some things, and, there were questions. He regrets a lot of them. People make mistakes. I get it. But look, we've got a caller that calls in the radio show, and they go, I don't know, Aaron Hernandez was a murderer, and he harbored him. Oh, no, that was after he left. But look, it's time to put him in the Ring of Honor. And I think if he gets a good reception for that Tennessee game, that's exactly what he'll get. I think that will happen. All right, that is our Los Linderos smooth move of the week. Go beyond with Los Linderos tequila. Let's talk about the Gainesville Quarterback Club, which I'm fired up. Tuesday night, baby. I am ready to go. The Gainesville Quarterback Club, the oldest club in the world and Canada. It is just a lot of great fellowship and a lot of fun. Katie Turner is going to come talk to us. We'll get all the deets on how they've done such a good job of recruiting. She's fun to talk to. And then, of course, the next week it is going to be Alex Brown. Kevin Carter's coming. Todd Golden for the gala. Can't wait for that night. That's September 30th, I think. Yeah. So much going on. Will Muschamp's coming to speak. So much going on. You can become a member very easily, and we appreciate it if you do, because I'm guaranteeing you fun. I guarantee you a good time. Food's good. Best Western, they do a good job out there. So come on in and sign up. We'd love to have you. And I appreciate the Gainesville Quarterback Club. It is time for us now to move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend. Our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend, of course, it is brought to you by Gallo Car Wash, and you know what a great job they do cleaning your car. Right, just get on that little treadmill, just go along. It's pretty cool. It's like being on a ride. Our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend is Rich Eisen. I like Rich Eisen a lot. I don't know Rich. I wish I did. I'd try to get him on this podcast. I don't know if he could or not. But I love Rich Eisen. Most of this time, what I see of his show is on clips, Facebook clips that I get he's kind of on my loop, like I get Jethro Tull, Seinfeld, uh, yes, and then there'll be a clip from Rich Eisen's show, and it's usually him talking. He's obsessed with two things that I'm obsessed with: A Few Good Men, the movie, and Seinfeld. I am too. I'm like the one. It's remote drop stuff. Anyway, ESPN bought the NFL Network rights, so now he's going to be on ESPN a lot too. So last night he hosted the Sports Center, and it got the ratings went through the roof. People love Rich Eisen; they love to see him, and plus it was him coming back after 25 years. The interesting thing is they go, that ain't gonna be the last time. We're gonna bring him back on again. So that's good. He is soaking it up, and I'm sure he's enjoying it. And I like Rich Eisen very much, so I'm glad that he's doing very well. Okay, it is time for This, That, and the Other, and as you know, it is brought to you by our good friends at Darr Schackow Insurance for all of your needs in home, auto, commercial, life, whatever you need. Darr Schackow Insurance is the place to go. It's also brought to you by Ballyhoo Grille, the place to go to get a cold beverage and maybe some tail. I love the Gator tail there, man. Bill used to bring it out for all the tournaments. It's so good. And by Notary Joe's. Notary Joe is a mobile notary. He can come to your house. You can just give him a call at 863-990-4884. Notary Joe, Joseph Newton, will come to your house with integrity and a smile. Yeah. Couldn't read that last one. All right. Let's go to This, That, and the Other. This is that you probably got tired of me bitching about how hot it was this summer and how bored I was this summer and how the summer felt long. And it felt long because baseball didn't go as late. Softball, there was just this kind of like, what are we going to do for the summer? And then the summer was brutal. We didn't get as much rain as we thought we'd get. Golf courses turned brown. Some of them did. One of them did. Let's put it that way. It was just not the most fun summer I've ever had. That's this. That is that then all of a sudden it turned to August and, you just went, hey, there is football this month. I'm going to be okay. And I said, you know what? I took Robbie's advice and I enjoyed it. I got out, got a tan, worked on the tan, worked on the golf game, just tried to do some stuff, worked on the podcast, worked a little bit harder on that, worked harder on radio, trying to get guests lined up and everything. Made August what it should be instead of me sitting around bitching, okay? And of course, the other is we're here. It's time. There's no more, what do you want? Pussyfooting? Is that the right word? Around. We cannot be walking on eggshells. It's time to hunker down. We are here. It's football season. I'm declaring it. It is football season today. Get ready. Get your tailgate food ready. Get all your dips ready. Know your beverage of choice. Don't be walking into the liquor store. Don't go down to Jiggs's place down there, the Good Pour, and say, hey, what do I want to drink today? No, have it ready to go. It's going to be crowded in there. That is the other. Right. I think we've gotten through everything except, of course, our games of the weekend. Our games of the weekend are brought to you by the Swamp Restaurant, where you will be this weekend, I think. You'll be there watching some of these games, whether it's golf, football, WNBA, football, more football, baseball. Let's give it to you, the highlights now. We're back to where we're doing highlight. We're not looking for things. We can find all kinds of things. We'll start off with Friday. Friday is a NFL preseason game, Minnesota at Tennessee. That's at 8 o'clock on CBS. That's probably the best game to watch that night. Saturday, you've got Jacksonville at Miami. Two state teams on the NFL Network. That's on at 7. Buffalo also plays that night. I think they're playing Green Bay at 7:30 at ESPN. This is on on the ESPN final, and if you've watched any ESPN this week, it's a big deal. They rang the bell at the New York Times Exchange and everything. Everything is going to be on one app, but I'm sure you're going to have to pay for it. We're already paying for ESPN. I don't know. I've got to kind of flesh this out and see how that's going to work. But anyway, that's where that game is. And then Saturday at noon, Iowa State, Kansas State, the first game of the year. If you don't watch the first kickoff, I'm mad at you. You need to at least watch the kickoff. If you say, then I'm walking out and I don't want to watch the game, okay, I can live with that. You got to at least see the first kickoff. Come on. And then you have the other game, and that game, by the way, is at noon on ESPN. Fresno State at Kansas might be worth watching at 6:30 on Fox. I probably will tip into that. Saturday, you also have baseball. The Dodgers are at San Diego. San Diego needs to recover from what they didn't do well in the first time they played the Dodgers. That's at 8:40 on FS1. I think that's actually 8:10. I think I wrote that down wrong, but just go watch it. And then Sunday, the Sox and the Yanks. The Sox at 7 o'clock on ESPN. The Tour Championship, if you want to watch that, which I will be watching, is on NBC Saturday, 2:30 to 7, Sunday, 1:30 to 6 on NBC as well. Can't wait. We got stuff to watch, man. We're back. That's the way I'm looking at it. Appreciate Zach. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate all of our great sponsors. We can sneak in one more if somebody wants to be a sponsor. We've got one other thing that I haven't been able to fill yet. So if you want to get in there, but appreciate all of them right now. All right, we'll be back with another show on Monday with Coach Spurrier on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging. Coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.